And the more information that keeps coming out, it just makes any association with him or his empire bad for other business.
You know, when you're in a kind of industry like rap, hip hop, music industry in general, the secrets around, working for a label.
The rise and fall of scene Diddy comms is a tale of fame, fortune, and shocking scandal. Once celebrated as a symbol of success and extravagance, Diddy's empire, spanning music, fashion, and media, now faces a stunning collapse. Allegations against him have rocked the entertainment industry to its core, revealing a narrative of power, betrayal, and a legal battle that could cost him his freedom. How did one of the music world's most iconic figures end up at the center of a federal investigation? In November 2023, the facade of success shattered when Diddy's ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, filed a bombshell lawsuit. The lawsuit alleged a decade-long cycle of control, physical abuse, and deeply disturbing behavior. Cassie, who began dating Diddy at just 19 years old, described feeling trapped in a toxic relationship. Her accusations painted a harrowing picture of manipulation, degradation, and exploitation, all hidden behind a mask of luxury and fame. The details were graphic and unsettling, exposing a man who allegedly used his wealth and influence to dominate those around him. This scandal has left Hollywood reeling and fans questioning everything they thought they knew about the mogul.
That video will follow him for the rest of his life. People will always remember that video.
Cassie's decision to speak out came just as the window was closing on New York's Adult Survivors Act, a law allowing individuals to file claims against alleged abusers, even if the statute of limitations had long expired. And what a claim it was! Cassie accused Diddy of micromanaging every aspect of her life, from her career to her personal medical records, leaving her in a state of perpetual fear. The allegations included physical abuse, forced encounters with others, and relentless psychological intimidation. One particularly chilling claim described Diddy threatening a fellow musician and allegedly destroying the artist's car as a warning. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the media, sparking a frenzy of speculation about the future of Diddy's legacy. But what truly stunned the public was the speed of the settlement. Just one day after the lawsuit was filed, both Cassie and Diddy issued vague statements announcing the matter had been resolved amicably. The abruptness raised suspicions. Many critics argued that the settlement wasn't about clearing his name, but rather silencing Cassie before more damning details could emerge. While the terms of the settlement remained confidential, it was clear that this was far from the end of the saga. It was only the beginning.
Like a very toxic work environment. What is your take on that?
Toxic, but this is illegal behavior. You cannot put hands, this is battery, it's criminal battery.
Cassie's lawsuit opened the floodgates. Within weeks, more women came forward with allegations against Diddy, each claim more shocking than the last. Spanning from the 1990s to the 2010s, these accusations painted a disturbing picture of a man who allegedly used his power to exploit and intimidate. One woman, identified as Jane Doe, claimed she was coerced into acts she didn't consent to while still a minor. Another accused Diddy of secretly filming her and showing the recordings to others. As more lawsuits and allegations emerged, public scrutiny intensified. While Diddy's team denied all wrongdoing, the mounting claims made the controversy impossible to ignore.
A jury that's impaneled right now, and that those people that did not talk then, they will be compelled to talk in a grand jury.
Despite these charges, Cassie's lawsuit was notable for its intensely personal nature. It was not just about a celebrity scandal. Rather, it was about a young woman who had spent her formative years under the control of one of the most powerful men in the industry. Cassie detailed a relationship in which she was constantly on edge to avoid upsetting Diddy, including a particularly horrific incident in 2016 when Diddy allegedly chased her down a hotel hallway, threw her to the ground, and kicked her. Surveillance footage of the incident surfaced months later, seemingly supporting her claims and further harming Diddy's already deteriorating reputation.
I think he don't know. You pay those lawyers to know. Those lawyers know what he's gonna beat, and those lawyers know what he ain't gonna beat.
However, we must remember who we are discussing here. Diddy is more than simply a superstar. He is a business magnate who shaped the sound of contemporary hip-hop and established a company that has an impact on everything from television to fashion. He was untouchable for years, a legendary figure who appeared impervious to the scandals that occasionally surrounded him. Diddy always looked to come out on top, whether it was in his commercial endeavors, extravagant parties, or high-profile romances. However, that image has now been destroyed, and in its stead comes a guy who is facing some of the most severe accusations imaginable.
The legal troubles continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who says that he was assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs and then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the...
By early 2024, federal authorities were working with the Department of Homeland Security to raid locations connected to Diddy as part of a larger investigation. These raids marked a turning point as the litigation and legal issues mounted, pointing out that possible criminal charges were now involved in addition to civil cases. An alleged network of enablers that aided Diddy in maintaining power and silencing anyone who might speak out was revealed by the inquiry, which uncovered what prosecutors described as a pattern of misbehavior spanning years involving several associates and employees.
Is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009, versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner.
And they did speak up. Diddy was accused of more than just his relationship with Cassie. Women from a variety of backgrounds come forward with their own terrifying tales. During extravagant multi-day events, some say they were forced into awkward circumstances. Others have reported being threatened and emotionally manipulated. In one especially disturbing story, a woman said she was flown across the nation and then put in a predicament from which she was unable to leave. All of these tales had one thing in common. Diddy allegedly used his wealth and influence to manipulate people around him.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as this seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in.
Diddy's legal team, led by veteran attorney Mark Agnifilo, wasted no time pushing back against the allegations. The defense claimed the accusations were part of a coordinated effort to tarnish Diddy's reputation and exploit his wealth. Agnifilo, known for handling high-profile cases, described Cassie's lawsuit as opportunistic, accusing her of attempting to extort Diddy before taking legal action. He argued that the claims were exaggerated or entirely fabricated, aiming to destroy a man who built his career from the ground up. However, despite the defense's aggressive stance, they faced an uphill battle. The sheer number of allegations, coupled with mounting public outrage, made it hard to sway public opinion. Then came the 2016 hotel surveillance footage, a turning point. The video appeared to show Diddy chasing, throwing, and kicking Cassie, providing what many viewed as concrete evidence of her claims. Diddy's subsequent apology, in which he admitted his behavior in the video was inexcusable, only fueled further suspicion. Instead of damage control, it raised deeper questions about what else might be hidden behind the scenes.
And so what the plaintiff in this case did was filed for what we call a temporary restraining order, which would have prevented Diddy, or would prevent him from selling that Los Angeles home. And so we know, or at least we believe, that that TRO was granted to enjoin or stop him from selling that home.
The media was fascinated by the case as it developed. Every fresh accusation, court appearance, every piece of evidence that was disclosed made headlines. Diddy's legacy was the subject of heated discussions on social media, with some defending him as the victim of a smear campaign and others denouncing him as a representation of unbridled power in the entertainment sector. Projects were canceled, and the entertainment world appeared to distance itself from the troubled billionaire. As the accusations grew, Diddy's long-standing relationship with his own media firm, Revolt, was also placed on pause, and partnerships ended and former collaborators remained noticeably silent.
Clients described NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they...
Behind the scenes, Diddy's legal team was rushing to maintain the defense strategy, which aimed to both undermine the government's case and discredit the accusers. The growing number of witnesses willing to testify against Diddy, ranging from former employees to industry insiders, presented a significant challenge to Agnifil's claims that many of the accusations were based on hearsay or lacked concrete evidence. He also questioned the accusers' motivations, arguing that they were motivated more by financial gain than by a desire for justice. It seemed like everyone had a story to tell, and few of them were flattering.
Government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being. They have to ensure the safety of your well.
Cassie remained a central figure in the case, with her decision to file the lawsuit viewed by many as an act of courage, a way to reclaim her voice after years of silence. Yet, her choice came with significant risks. Diddy's legal team worked tirelessly to undermine her credibility, digging into her past and questioning her motives. They pointed to the swift settlement as evidence that her claims were driven by money rather than justice. Cassie's supporters, however, argued the settlement allowed her to move forward without enduring a lengthy and grueling legal battle. As the legal drama unfolded, the stakes for Diddy couldn't have been higher. The outcome could shape not only his freedom, but his entire legacy. For his accusers, it was about holding a powerful man accountable for his alleged actions. For the entertainment industry, it signaled a moment of reckoning, a chance to confront the darker side of fame and power. One thing is clear, this story is far from over. With a trial date approaching and more revelations likely to emerge, the world will be watching closely as one of music's biggest stars fights for his future.
Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the power is said to be euphoric, but what happens when it is abused? Some are referring to Diddy Communications' current situation as the trial of the century. As the case's layers come off, a world of privilege, secrecy, and startling accusations is exposed. One thing is certain as we go deeper into this developing story. The stakes have never been higher. The courtroom is evolving from a venue for legal disputes to a theater where Diddy's wealth, image, and legacy are at stake.
Alleged evidence that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been.
This case is turning into a huge legal battle, and everyone is watching Diddy's legal team as they try to undermine the government's case piece by piece. If you think this is simply another celebrity issue, think again. Leading the charge is well-known lawyer Mark Agnifilo, who is renowned for his astute tactics and capacity to turn even the most challenging situations in his client's advantage. Agnifilo is a maestro of courtroom drama who thrives on the drama and strain of high-stakes trials. Now that Diddy's billion-dollar empire is at stake, he's throwing caution to the wind.
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see.
From the outset, Mark Agnifilo made it clear that his defense strategy goes beyond proving Diddy's innocence. It's about dismantling the very foundation of the charges. In his words, this case isn't about justice. It's about tearing down a successful man and exploiting his fame. Agnifilo asserted that the accusations were a coordinated effort to destroy Diddy's reputation and legacy. His approach frames Diddy as a victim of opportunistic individuals seeking a payday rather than a perpetrator of serious crimes. But this battle is more than just a fight over public perception. The legal stakes are monumental. Among the most serious charges are those brought under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. For those unfamiliar, RICO isn't an ordinary legal tool. It's typically used to dismantle organized crime syndicates. Prosecutors allege that Diddy orchestrated a network enabling his misconduct, leveraging his business staff and vast wealth to control and silence potential threats. In essence, they're portraying Diddy as the mastermind of a far-reaching operation designed to protect his interests at any cost. The outcome of this case could have profound consequences for his legacy and his future.
Doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
And it continues from there. In addition, the government has accused Diddy of employing private planes, opulent homes, and events attended by celebrities as means of luring and coercing people away from extravagant parties that purportedly concealed more sinister motives to allegations that his employees assisted in enabling dubious actions. the prosecution is constructing a story that Diddy's business was founded on exploitation as much as ambition. It has been alleged that private flight logs, text messages, and even photographs are being turned in as evidence, further complicating an already intricate case.
This has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living a lifestyle of the incredibly rich and famous and then going into this very dark, impersonal, cold, austere facility.
But here's where things get really interesting. Agnifilo isn't backing down from the accusations. He's taking a bold stance. He argues that what prosecutors are calling networks were simply the routine operations of a high-profile entrepreneur. According to Agnifilo, the staff, private jets, and lavish events were just the tools of a successful businessman, not evidence of a criminal enterprise. When you're at the top of the entertainment world, your life is under a microscope, Agnifilo stated in court. Every move is scrutinized, and every interaction is twisted to fit a narrative. It's a strategic argument, and Agnifilo knows exactly how to frame it. His goal is to shift attention away from the alleged victims and onto the credibility of the accusations themselves. Consider the 2016 surveillance footage showing Diddy's altercation with Cassie Ventura. While many saw the video as damning evidence, Agnifilo dismissed it as an isolated incident that was being blown out of proportion. "We're not here to judge a man for one mistake," he argued. "We're here to determine whether these allegations hold up under the law."
I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in the...
Agnello is confident, but the prosecution isn't giving up. They have a ton of evidence, including the testimonies of numerous people who say they either saw or experienced wrongdoing. Prosecutors claim that a string of text messages purportedly sent by Diddy show a pattern of control and intimidation, making them one of the most explosive pieces of evidence. Threats are allegedly included in these messages. Threats of financial collapse and even guidelines for employees on how to manage delicate circumstances. These texts have the potential to revolutionize the legal proceedings if they are validated.
I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other.
Then there's the testimony from former employees, industry insiders, and even close friends of Diddy who have reportedly come forward to share their accounts. Some describe a culture of fear and loyalty, where speaking out wasn't just discouraged, it was dangerous. Others claim they were pressured into covering up incidents or facilitating questionable activities. These testimonies are creating a portrait of a man who allegedly used his immense power to control and manipulate those around him. While Diddy's legal team is working relentlessly to discredit these witnesses, the sheer number of accounts makes it difficult to dismiss them as mere fabrications. As the trial progresses, one of the most contentious issues remains Cassie Ventura's role. Although her lawsuit was settled, her story remains central to the prosecution's case. Reports suggest that prosecutors plan to call her as a key witness, using her allegations to establish a long-term pattern of behavior. This puts Diddy's team in a tough spot. How do you counter the testimony of someone who not only knew him intimately but also has documented evidence to back up her claims?
Criminal case in the modern times, a lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think this is some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on its own.
Ego's strategy has been to cast doubt on Cassie's intentions, implying that money, not a desire for justice, was the driving force behind her decision to sue Diddy. He has used the payment as evidence that her statements were motivated more by money than by truth. But this strategy carries hazards because it calls into question Cassie's character. Diddy's staff could come across as indifferent to or contemptuous of her claims. taking a step that might backfire in the public opinion court.
You know, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident. He stood tall.
Public opinion has become more crucial than ever in this case. With each new revelation, the media frenzy intensifies and the line between fact, rumor, and speculation grows ever more blurred. Social media has turned into a battleground, with hashtags and viral posts amplifying every detail. Some argue that Diddy is being unfairly tried in the court of public opinion, while others see this as a long overdue reckoning for a man they believe has evaded accountability for years. But this case isn't just about Diddy. Its implications stretch far beyond his fate. It serves as a wake-up call to an industry long criticized for enabling toxic behavior and turning a blind eye to misconduct. If Diddy is found guilty, it could set a precedent that sends shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, forcing other powerful figures to face the consequences of their past actions.
Well, you got to do your due diligence, and his team should have did the due diligence. And a lot of times people do slip through the cracks. There's things that you don't see and don't find out until later on. But I mean, when people are making claims like the way people are making claims, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that if you're having that person on your platform, which is a huge platform, that you're putting out the proper and correct news.
And yet, there's still so much we don't know. The trial is far from over, and with each hearing, new details emerge that complicate the narrative. For instance, federal agents reportedly found undisclosed items during a raid on one of Diddy's properties, items that could potentially serve as crucial evidence. While it's unclear what these items are or how they fit into the prosecution's case, their discovery has added another layer of intrigue to an already complex story. Meanwhile, Diddy continues to maintain his innocence, issuing statements through his legal team that deny any wrongdoing. These accusations are baseless. He said in a recent interview, "I've built my career on hard work and respect, and I will fight to clear my name." But as the evidence mounts and the trial drags on, clearing his name is proving to be an increasingly difficult challenge.
So, Brianna, the judge has set a May 5th trial date for Sean Diddy Combs to face those charges of racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation of prostitution. Now, Diddy was in court today. He entered the courtroom wearing a jail-issued outfit, a khaki long-sleeve shirt, pants. He was also shot.
Not to mention the human element in all of this. Behind the news stories and legalese are actual people whose lives have been irrevocably altered by this case. The accusers see this trial as an opportunity to finally come clean and pursue justice for Diddy. For the entertainment industry, it's a moment of reckoning that might change the way power and accountability are perceived in the sector. It's a battle for his legacy, his freedom, and everything he's worked for.
Those situations lend to maybe some issues with tampering. And I do feel like there are victims who are scared to come forward, including my client. She was very nervous about if he was going to get bail this week. And once I told her, and then come after people, including her and some of the other individuals, and she was very relieved when he did not receive.
As the trial goes on, where does this leave us? There is little doubt that Diddy Combs' narrative is far from over. The drama increases, the stakes rise, and the questions become more pressing with each new revelation. Will the evidence be too strong for Diddy's legal team to overcome, or will they be able to undermine the government's case? Most significantly, what does this case reveal about the privileged and powerful culture that permitted these accusations to go unreported for such a long time? Post your thoughts and theories in the space provided below. Stay tuned and continue the conversation until the next time.